Good evening, one and all. This is Screen to Speed Gran Turismo 7 Round 5 here at Suzuka Circuit, the crown of the Japanese motorsport scene. This incredible Suzuka track has played host to so many different series, from Grand Prix motorcycle racing to Formula One, and of course to racing from Super Formula, all the way down to even NASCAR back in the 1990s as an invitational event. Hi, my name is Jamie Jessica Martin, and I am your commentator live here this evening. Race direction by Sophia Romwin, and the broadcast director, Stephen Proudley of AKE Sports, is on hand to show you this final round of the Screen to Speed Spring Cup season. We'll talk a little bit about the championship so far as we come in towards this final track of the season so far. It's been 5 rounds and five really strong interesting races coming up, or ultimately have happened. For us, we'll look at the order and the leaderboard here for now. Sophia Romwin actually will go into this at P1, but for broadcast purposes will not be taking part with 52 points. So the battle here is between the next selection of drivers. It is the American Tulipix leading the way of the second bunch here, with Laura Petal, the Japanese driver, currently in P3. Gears of Grona and Just Hun both sitting there with only a point in between them, and Mariah Light as well in P6. We've joined on with Just Hun, the streamer, for those two positions. Annalise Riot and Jenny, Jenny are on 33 points and 31. Tasha with 28 points, and Purple Labris with 23. And of course, the German Sharon Fly will head off towards P11 at the moment with 22 points. 12 points for Christian Bach with 10. And currently at the end, it's Shauna Antonia in P13 with 9 points this season. So to talk a little bit about the ordering of this race, we'll give you a little bit of information. Of course, this is Suzuka International Circuit. Interesting spelling there of Suzuka, but we will go on. It is a GT3 cars at the moment. It is fastest first qualification, which will last around 10 minutes, and a race duration of 60 minutes overall. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about the season so far. We've had 4 races at Barcelona, Daytona, Interlagos, and Autopolis. With round 1, Sophia Romwin took the pole, with Tulipix capitalizing on the mistakes of Sophie and the Winter Cup champion Gears of Grona to take the win. And newcomer Laura claiming the fastest lap and takes P3 behind Gears of Grona. Round 2 went, of course, to the international home of motorsports in Daytona, the road course, home of the legendary Daytona 24, where Sophia Romwin would take pole again, but Tulipix would capitalize on the woes of the pole sitter and claim victory. Jenny redeems herself from a less than ideal round 1 to come home in second place in round 2. And the mid-pack was a tough battle, however, and lots of stewards' visits there that day. Round 3 at Interlagos in Brazil saw the circus go there. The winter champion Gears of Grona back in form as she claims pole and the victory. Sophie Romwin made Gears of Grona work for the win, with the pair swapping the lead multiple times, but Sophie had to settle for second. And Laura managed a great comeback drive from the early skirmish, with Tulipix to blame third. And Autopolis, the penultimate round, we saw the closest qualifying yet, as the top 5 was separated by less than a second. Gears of Grona narrowly edged out Laura for the pole position finish. It was Screen to Speed veteran Mariah Light, though, that surprised everyone to take the lead in the race's early stages and defend for her life. Rain became a factor, and Sophia Romwin managed to put it all together, putting on a masterclass and taking the lead and extending it. As the track began to dry, teams gambled on fresh rubber for the final stint, and ultimately, in this case, Sophia Romwin managed to hold off a determined Tulipix, who ultimately finished second. and Mariah Light, under immense pressure, managed to defend her position against the hard-charging Gears of Grona, rounding out the podium in style. So we'll move to qualifying now, and we'll talk a little bit about the track as laps are being set. We'll hop on board one of the cars when they start a new lap, but we will keep an eye on how this goes. Of course, it has been a massive, massive wait, and for those that are interested, it's fantastic to be able to commentate for you live again. Of course, it's been a little while. Screen to Speed has gone through a lot. We've been doing there's been a lot going on in terms of the series so far, and there's a lot in the works we'll bring to you a little bit later. So don't worry, there's still plenty of surprises here for you today outside of the racing. Of course, P10 at the moment, currently not set a lap, is Jenny at the moment. We're waiting to see as this car goes around. This is going to be a really heavily wet, rain-affected session. So we are going to see a really difficult circuit to drive become even more difficult in the wet weather, but it's certainly not a surprising factor here for Suzuka. We're on board, though, with Yvonne Houfler, of course, one of the organisers for Screen to Speed, as she comes down the start-finish straight. This is an 18-corner circuit, and we'll spend a lap on board with Yvonne. So we're heading down this very long straight here. It's the second longest straight on the circuit, heading into the first turn. So here through turn 1, and we're going to see this car sweep out wide and then hit the apex around the corner here through turn 2. Next up, though, we've got the S-curves here. This is a section of 5 corners through 3, now 4, heading up towards 5, with 6 and 7 not far away here, to create a section of kind of weaving S's. Heading up towards a large banked curve coming up here, of course, being the Dunlop curve. Now, of course, with the Dunlop curve now challenged, we're heading down towards a very sudden to the right turn at a pretty sudden angle change here. This is the Degner curve, one of the legendary corners on this circuit. You've got to be careful to hit that apex, otherwise you'll wash out into the gravel. As we head round turn 9, and this is the figure of 8 section. Of course, that pit section above is the main back straight there. So it is interesting to see, and it's the only track as of 2018 that's got grade 1 license, that's got figure 8 and is grade 1 listed, grade 1 rated in terms of the FIA statistics. Of course, that was the hairpin there between corners 10 and 11. As we head through this curved and just slight right, continuous right-hand turn through turn 12, heading up towards Spoon. This one here is a very difficult one to nail because it's a pretty small, pretty thin section of track around the Spoon section, and you're having to try and work the car to try and not have it wash out either mid-corner or through the exit. As we go through the back straight, of course, we're heading over where turn 9 and 10, between turn 9 and 10 with the bridge. And we move into one of the most famous corners here of the circuit, 130R. You can't let go too much. It's an almost flat corner, maybe in the rain, not so much. Through the final section of corners 16, 17, and 18, of course, this is the Casio Triangle, named after the famous Japanese watch brand. And that, as we head through, is a lap of the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. For those that don't know a little bit about the circuit, of course, this current circuit and layout has been used as of 2005. It's been around for quite a while. They made changes specifically to turn 9 to try and ultimately make the track a little bit safer. And ultimately, for much of it, it's obviously made this track incredibly legendary. Japanese circuits have a very iconic status within motorsports, and Suzuka absolutely is one of 2 that just have absolutely incredible levels of just pure motorsport folklore. That and its counterpart in Fuji being the Fuji Speedway. But you can't forget, of course, the legendary Twin Room Motegi, which also has played host to some incredible series and events. But of course, we're at its digital form right now as we're waiting to see what laps drivers can do. It is the local Laura Petal JP. Of course, that's Laura currently running behind at the moment. Behind Lightspeed at the moment. Mariah Light. And it's fantastic. This is one of the title challengers here. So we'll keep an eye on how this one goes for the selection of them. It is pole position Tulipix at the moment, but there's only a few points between Lara here, and this absolutely is an opportunity for the Japanese driver to really take this one away, but you can't take away from the potential of this driver right here. This is Gears Agrona, of course, who won the previous season in Gran Turismo 7. So there is plenty of opportunities here for Gears Agrona to get back into it. Only currently about 5 points off of Laura, but in fairness, still is going to require a little bit of help there to potentially pull off a surprise victory. But in the wet weather here at Suzuka, with any battles going on, anything can happen. So with everyone on board, of course, keeping an eye on the moment, Yvonne Hoefele are currently setting a really good set pace. Last lap, pretty good stuff there for the Dutch driver. Anna Miniak at the moment, currently not improving. It does like Gears Agrona is going to improve. How much, though, is going to be a question. Keep an eye on it there. As Sharon Fly, we're on board with her. She passes the line. So far, definitely a lot of question marks around how the weather is going to affect this. Of course, we've got a little bit of time left, so there's still plenty of opportunities here, though. Jenny not really anywhere close to improving there. As we go on board with Laura, who spins heading out through turn 2. Awkward there for the Japanese driver. But not completely, of all the times to lose it, probably not the worst. It's all been definitely an incredible series to watch. And of course, Screen to Speed and this series has been running for over a year now. For those that haven't watched the journey from start to finish, it has been a story of multiple sims, multiple races, multiple events of multiple kinds. From, of course, the origins of this incredible series, coming from the hosted event at Las Vegas Motor Speedway early last year, which saw Sitcha Fitzpatrick winning the overall championship live at that incredible venue. Of course, outside then there were a bunch of other series like a summer and an autumn league. There was a winter invitational on iRacing. Of course, we then eventually saw Gran Turismo 7 enter the fold, and we've seen 2 seasons of Gran Turismo 7. Of course, this being the second of the 2 of them. And now, of course, we've got plenty to come as well from all different kinds. Of course, an incredibly successful year of so many drivers from all backgrounds, all nationalities, all minorities. It has been fantastic to see what Screen to Speed has been able to achieve. And this is the final lap for these drivers here. It looks like not much improvement here from a lot of the drivers. And for Tulipix, not being a very strong qualifying so far. Gears are not improving. Sharon Fly not improving. Weather definitely having a massive impact here, but some of the drivers managed to make it over the line before the session ended. We're on board with Jenny right now, currently in P9. Not great here for the long-term Gran Turismo 7 starter. Can this be an improvement? And it is up to P4. Good qualifying lap there for Jenny. Doesn't look like improvements for any cars behind so far. There are still cars to qualify, but it does look like, at this moment, Laura Petal JP is going to lead the way. Yvonne, though, still has a lap. This is going to be a bit of a tough one, though. does seem 3/10 off this one. So it doesn't seem that this will be an improvement unless there is a really late gain of time, which on this circuit where, Yvonne is trying her hardest to keep the car straight as this Porsche keeps swinging from left to right to left to right. It's just this absolute. It's trying to avoid the car fishtailing under such standing water. I think that's a big thing, and you know what I said earlier about going through Spoon Curve here. It's very easy to wash out between the mid corner and the late corner. Well, Yvonne is, trying to even just get to that point of being able to actually hit those turns properly, is having to essentially manhandle the car heading into Spoon to make sure that the next two corners actually end up good and the car doesn't wash out. But it does look like this isn't going to be an improvement. It is 153 as she goes incredibly wide at 130R. And I mean, I tend to say this is probably confirmation of the result as we know it. And it looks like Yvonne is going to finish the lap. But credit where credit is due. Yvonne Houfoular giving it a go right at the very end with one additional lap. Heading across the line, it is, of course, Laura Petal JP leading the way with the pole position for the Japanese driver. Incredible performance there as we see all of our cars come to the end of qualifying, and we are going to see our 60-minute race coming up very shortly. With that all said and done, we will go back to the track pan for now on a much brighter and sunnier Suzuka circuit. But of course, we'll wait for the order and the grid to line up. If you're interested, though, in sharing or talking, make sure you show your support for whoever you're wanting to represent in the chat, who you're loving or really wanting to see be your star for this race. There's a few, of course, within the championship fight, but it'll be fantastic to see what you think here. Of course, as we look at the ordering for the grid, it's Laura Petal JP with the pole position time of a 2:25.357. Yvonne will be joining on the front row in P2. Crazy Birch in P3, with Jenny joining in P4 after an incredible final lap improvement. And a Miniac in P5 with Gears of Grona, last season's champion, in P6. Lightspeed in P7 and P8 being finished off there, with Yukina Suzuka being in P9, with Sharon Fly P10, Shauna Antonia in P11, and Axe in P12. As we get ready to line up for the grid, we're excited to see what this race will bring. It is going to be 60 minutes. And we'll look at the Summer Cup, actually. We'll talk a little bit about the series that are coming up. Of course, adding to the roster, it's been decided that the new F1 game will play host to a Summer Cup calendar. Of course, Jeddah, Miami, Barcelona, Zandvoort, Singapore, Losail, and Yas Marina between June the 22nd and September the 7th. So if you're interested in taking part, make sure you go to www.screentospeed.com. iRacing is coming back with a 5-round schedule for the Summer Cup calendar. Road Atlanta, Circuit de Spa, Snetterton, Laguna Seca, and Misano in the F4 cars. So we're going to see a open wheel option for iRacing. And of course, Gran Turismo 7 is coming back with Laguna Seca, Road Atlanta, Brands Hatch, Goodwood, and Fuji, which will be Red Bull Junior cars. So that was the announcement of the extra event coming along. So if you're interested and you think you're going to be able to compete or enter, and you want to know how to enter or what requirements you need to meet. I wish I could actually speak the language I learned in. But of course, you can look on the website at www.screentospeed.com to find out more about the up-and-coming Summer Cup events. With everything coming together, we're waiting for the grid to organize. If everyone in the chat wants to share who they're excited to support, who they want to see win, who's going to win this, who's going to come away with the Season 2 championship. Of course, right now, there are a few drivers that are within a shout of it. it's going to be a lot to ask. Right now, considering the numbers, considering the boards, it's Tulipix and Laura Petal at the moment likely to go. As we're about to go green, we'll head back to the circuit. We're just waiting for the camera to come up for the track as we head green. Of course, this is the start of the order, and it's going to be your grid. 12 cars. Potentially, it looks likely to be a new champion here for Screen to Speed here in the Spring Cup, and it's go, and it's Laura Petal getting an incredible start there with Yvonne bogging down ever so slightly, and also a really good start there from Jenny as well. Jenny's wanting to get stuck in, and it's going to be really positive. But a bit of a bump there from Gears of Grona, last season champion, not allowing this one to get away. She knows what she needs to do. She needs to get in front, and she ultimately needs to put space between Laura and Tulipix. Of course, Tulipix in pole position, but right now, pole position in terms of the championship, but right now, 6th place isn't really a strong point if Laura Petal gets P1 right now. Only a couple of points between the two of them, so the championship winner will most likely be between one of those. Giza could potentially is possibly close enough to have an effect on the championship, though in fairness, it will take a bit of an upheaval and just additional points of upheaval for Mariah Light. Of course, that's Lightspeed in P5 to really have any chance here. As they head, of course, through taking a curve. This is exactly what I'm talking about, especially in the wet. It's so easy to wash out because that corner is such an aggressive corner. There's no runoff there. You're going straight into the gravel track if that happens. As it's Lightspeed currently on Gears of Grona at the moment. P4 heading up towards the hairpin. Tulipix there in P6. Currently sitting there trying to look for a way around. The Mazda getting blocked out by the two cars in front. It's Lightspeed, Gears of Grona at the moment battling away. It's the Lamborghini and it's that Alfa Romeo. It's a fantastic amount of work so far from the two of them. Incredible racing. A bit of jittering there from Gears of Grona. I can't tell whether that's the internet connection or whether that is outright just the car flicking and fishtailing as Gears takes a heavy wide. It takes it wide and sticks the nose in through Spoon. This is incredibly risky for this point of the race. And honestly, I think between these bunch, it probably maybe isn't playing into their benefit if they want a chance to potentially pull off a championship victory here. And so far, as they head up towards 130R, it's 4 cars. It's potentially 2 wide here, around 130R potentially coming up. There's Tulipix in the background, and it looks like Crazy Birch decides to stay out of it. Right decision there. 130R is hard enough to do with 1 car, let alone 2 cars side by side. Crazy Birch is still going to look. Gears of Grona's on the outside here, going for the Casio Triangle. Gears of Grona on the outside. Of course, Tulipix watches out wide in the Mazda. Not great there for the currently the pole position for the championship leader, in hypothetical leader, with Sophia Romwin not able to take part. And it's Crazy Birch heading up towards the first turn. Currently on the inside is a bump there from the Porsche, and second bump, a third bump, a fourth bump, and Tulipix goes wide. Maybe not the best overtake there, using the championship leader. And I said that there's a lot that could happen in this race, and Tulipix right now currently sitting in P2 in the championship. Right now, that championship is slipping away, especially with Laura Petal out front at the moment. So not great news here for the current P2 in the championship standings, as we head up through the S's once again. It's incredibly difficult to predict how this one's going to go. I mean, Laura Petal and Jenny have both put in some incredible performances so far, as has Yvonne. Those three have kind of separated from the main pack. It is Lightspeed at the moment who's had a massive switch around here, and this is the driver that potentially has the as surprisingly is doing what she can to really equalize and make this potential champion. It looks like even further back there for Tulipix as well. So this is horrible stuff here for the currently P2 and the championship driver. And honestly, it's just horrible to see that the race is just going absolutely against this driver. I think Tulipix has to stay calm, has to stay together, has to stay cool and calm and collected. I think he just has to rebuild. You just need to see drivers start to, you just need to start navigating. Don't end up in silly battles. Keep close to the cars in front and just see out this race. Well, we're having a look at the moment as it stands. I believe it's probably not being helped by the tyre choice at the moment. With so much standing water, having the wet tyres on probably is the strategy, but unfortunately for Tulipix, the intermediates absolutely are currently on that car at the moment, and that absolutely is going to become very difficult, because the intermediates don't have enough tread, or they don't have anywhere near as much tread as the wet weather tyres, which are designed ultimately to displace water, standing water. In this case, which allows for slightly better grip. In this case, the intermediates are slightly slicker in comparison. Doesn't move and doesn't displace as much standing water, meaning the car is a lot more unpredictable on standing water. Potentially could pay off in dividends if the track continues to dry. That depends on if the rain continues to fall. Right now, the sky says yes. I mean, if you've ever raced or seen a race at Japanese circuits, chances are rain is a genuine concern for any series. Of course, Formula One of many recent years has been very on and off with the rain, but it is pretty common. So expecting and being prepared for wet weather is absolutely one of the important parts of racing here at Suzuka, much like its counterpart, of course, at Fuji. Talk a little bit about some of the history here around Suzuka as well as we go along. Oh, and Crazy Birch. I say that, and Crazy Birch has just slid into Gears of Grona. I mean, in the end, no harm, no foul, but wow, it could have been so much more horrible, and that's just thrown Crazy Birch into the into a battle with Animaniac in that Lamborghini right there. They head through hairpin. Wow. What can you say? Needing a breath there, but how much that's going on. It is really tough to keep this car in a straight line. Tulipix, you could see that car fishtailing over and over and over again, just having to control the car. And Yukino Suzuka's made a mistake. That Renault is on the outside, heading through the grass as they head into Spoon. That is where it seems like cars are really struggling right now to be able to hit the apexes of Spoon properly. Cars having to push themselves out wide, but keeping themselves on that wide line, heading into the corner and hitting that apex is just becoming almost impossible right now. There's still no real major dry line. You can start to see one forming, but to be honest with you, it's a very small and faint dry line. I don't think we're going to see that line dry up significantly anytime soon. The weather doesn't seem to want to agree with that assessment either. Still got plenty of time to go. We're only 7.5 minutes into this race. It is Laura Petal JP at the moment, third in the championship, and right now on points and positioning and doing what she needs to do. She is going to become our Spring Cup champion in Gran Turismo 7 here, should things stay the same. But anything can happen. We've seen it plenty of times before, whether that be in iRacing, whether that be in Gran Turismo 7, whether that be in just sim racing full screen for speed or in real life. Anything can happen, and chances are 9 times out of 10 it probably always does. But of course, Jenny has had a pretty good run here. This is a driver that in the last season in the Winter Cup looked pretty good. Was always consistently within the top 3, but hasn't had the same level of luck over this season so far. But a P2 run right now is a pretty good way to go out on terms right now. It's going to shoot Jenny further up the board at the moment, if not past a few other drivers. But Yvonne right now here for pride more than anything. Of course, Yvonne not raced a race so far in this series. I imagine running more as a substitute, of course, for Sophie, who's going to be doing the organising here. So, of course, running for Sophie in spirit. But we're just keeping an eye on how this track kind of seems to evolve over the next little while. It really is a question mark as to how this race is really going to just wind out, because we can't tell whether the rain is going to continue to fall. And I think that's an important thing that we need to remember. Wet weather here is going to be a massive potential nightmare. And it's going to make this race even more complex. And with the rain, of course, still falling, I still believe it's falling. There's still no dry line. The times are improving, but it still seems to me that it's too wet to really see the intermediates starting to work. It's really going away from Tulipix here, who's the main title challenger for Laura in P1. Crazy Birch at the moment, going around the Casio triangle right now. That's turned 16, 17, and 18. Not currently, definitely struggling. Tulipix is up to P8 though. Does seem like Tulipix has found pace. 4 seconds worth of pace to be more exact. That's fantastic stuff from Tulipix. So there's this event, like I said, this might not be over yet. Those intermediates seem to be doing pretty well for Tulipix right now. And yes, we're just waiting to see it. But that also does give us a good sign around what we're expecting from the track evolution here. And that is with Tulipix being the only one on intermediates, Tulipix is now starting to come into this with 4 seconds worth of improved time there off of the last best lap. And you can see that gradual improvement from 33 seconds to 30 to 26. We're now seeing pretty significant improvements of time, and that car seems a lot more stable now than it did in the early laps. You are starting to see the dry lines start to kind of widen out, as Animaniacs had a massive problem heading around Degner. Washes out into the gravel. That is exactly what I said earlier. Degner is very easy to get wrong, and if you do, there's no reprieve. You're gonna end up falling and gliding through the gravel. That puts Tulipix up to 7th. This is going to be an interesting question. Laura Petal at the moment has the fastest lap, a 1:25. Right now, it seems like Tulipix on those intermediates is on pace to absolutely annihilate that lap. Which, if you're sitting there as Laura, you've just run an incredible set of leading laps. You've kept comfortable. You've done everything you've needed to do. But right now, the question mark is, what is that driver behind you going to do? Because, truth be told, if Laura Petal was leading this group in terms of the championship, I'd sit there and say, you know, the onus is on Tulipix. But with Tulipix right now, leading only by a couple of points, but still leading, it means that the question mark is not, I need to beat this person to win. It's, this person is currently a few points in advantage ahead of me. They need to not make a certain position to win the championship. And of course, it's a 1:24, so yeah, absolutely. I said it exactly then. Tulipix absolutely speeding up as they head around the first turn once again. Currently closing up on the Porsche of TXM Crazy Birch there, and you can see Gears of Groner at the moment. This is, of course, the field closing in. Tulipix is getting closer. This is going to get interesting. Lightspeed right now, struggling. So if I heard that right from Booth, Tulipix needs to finish 5th or better, I believe. So 5th or better. So right now, this is exactly what I was saying there a moment ago. Laura's doing absolutely everything she needs to do. She needs to win. With Tulipix being very forceful going through turn 9, heading under the loop. So incredible improvements in lap time right there. The intermediates are absolutely paying dividends right there. We've still got plenty of time left. It's a 60-minute race. We're 14 minutes now into this race. So still got plenty to go. But right now, with the information being passed to me, Tulipix is only 1 position away from being in the best position to pull off a championship victory in the Spring Cup. Laura, to the absolute futility of Laura. This could be interesting. We've seen championship deciders like this in the past. We have seen it, of course, in iRacing through the previous iRacing series, and then Lightspeed has a massive problem through 130R, and that is the P5 that Tulipix needs. Now, of course, there's still plenty of race left to go, plenty of strategy left to make, so it is not a foregone conclusion yet. But Tulipix right now is now in pole position once again from P10 up to P5, now P4. That's an incredible lap, a 120, absolutely smashing. This is 4 seconds a lap that she's almost gaining. It's insane, incredible stuff there from the driver and the Mazda. And right now, solidifying a potential chance to win the Screen to Speed Spring Cup in Gran Turismo 7. Like I said, we've seen such factors in motorsport before. I mentioned, of course, we saw it in our own series with iRacing, of course, running around some incredible circuits. We saw a championship battle there between Nina Hahn and Bianca Constantinou in that series for iRacing. Of course, we've seen it in real life as well. To make comparisons to a track that we raced on in the GT7 round a bit earlier this season, back in round 3. Apologies about some of the breakup there on your screen, but you talk about Interlagos. It's played host to probably one of the most important and incredible and nail-biting title deciders that's ever happened in the history of major sports. You don't know what I'm talking about. The 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix in Formula One, of course, which saw the hometown favorite Felipe Massa in the red Scuderia Ferrari, finishing in P1, but a late final corner charge to take a P5 position for Lewis Hamilton in the Vodafone McLaren Mercedes car would end up proving to be incredible and the first of a legendary 7 world championships for the British driver. Crazy Birch with the penalty there, gonna have to serve it down this main straight. And it's just working out. Tulipix is now up to P3. I mean, if you're Laura right now, there's nothing else you can do. Just gotta stay in the lead, you just gotta stay in first, but right now, with the way that Tulipix is making up grounds, I'd have questions here. It's now going from you being in a position to win, and doing everything you're doing, to doing everything that you need to do, but your opponent in this battle is currently doing everything they need to do, and it potentially could end up with the pace of this Mazda right now. It could genuinely end up with Tulipix just making it a complete non-factor in terms of a question, and just take the lead and just ultimately finish ahead of Laura, in which case guarantees the title. That's the only way, the only driver that can guarantee a championship victory here is Tulipix, if she finishes ahead of Laura. And right now, as they head up towards Degner, there's a chance that could happen, but right now with that bumping there between Jenny and Tulipix, I'd say Tulipix, you're in the best position here. I know you want to win this race. I know you want to confirm. that you are the champion in waiting. But right now, I think it's better to be sensible. Take your opportunities where they come around, and then make the most of it. You can see that dry line that's now formed. And those intermediates have just paid absolute dividends, and the wet weather tires that we have seen on the rest of these cars are now just screaming. They will be hot. They will be melting. They will not be getting traction. The tread will be tearing off of these cars if this were real. And honestly, the tires will be absolutely sworn in pain. This is absolutely just... It's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of measurements here in terms of how we're going to measure this battle. We'll go back on. Currently, Tulipix in P2 as well now. So, I mean, right now, it's just not going the way of Laura Petal at the moment. The Japanese driver looked almost certain at one point to potentially walk away with a championship victory, as there's a bit of bumping there between Animaniac and the Maniac and that's TXM Lightspeed there, as a pit stop here for Tulipix. Tulipix has blinked first. Interesting decision. How does this lay out in the grand scheme of things? We've still got plenty of race to go. We're only heading up towards... Yeah, so we're heading up towards 20 minutes, and she's put on softs. Interesting. Does Tulipix really think that the dry line is dry enough to get as much advantage as possible? This is a very risky strategy here. This could be something that ultimately can either absolutely be an absolute masterstroke, which leads to the guaranteeing of a championship victory, or it could be a massive blown opportunity here. It's very hard to see. And the question is that the only people that know how the tyres feel on this track are the ones driving it right now. Of course, on board with Yvonne Hufelaar at the moment, heading through turn number 9. Currently a battle between these few here. I can imagine we're going to start seeing some pit stops here. I think you really kind of have to get some pit stops in now. I mean, the pace differential between the other drivers, the fact that the other drivers are really struggling to keep this car going. I mean, in all honesty with you, I think you have to accept that you might have to make a pit stop here. And right now, Tulipix's pace and stability on the dry line looks almost... Yeah, it looks like, and as Animaniac has a massive off, heads into the gravel trap, and that's the washing out I mentioned earlier. So easy to do. You don't hit the apex properly, you don't hit through turn 1 properly, you'll go flying and drifting out and wash out on through turn 2. So Girza has also pitted as well, so this is interesting right here. As it stands right now, the two things that Girza Grona would need for the championship to go her way and to be a back-to-back champion looks unlikely to happen. So it does look like this is for pride for Girza Grona. But an interesting opportunity here to make up as much positions as possible and potentially sneak an impressive podium, or even maybe pull off a surprise win here should the opportunity arise. Waiting for others to make the move. As, a slide there, that's from Yvonne in the background there, sliding around turn 1, into turn 2, that's the first turn there. And you can see these tyres are starting to really not pay dividends here. You can see what's happening. Tulipix is passing drivers either through just through pure and utter poor weather. The rain has started again. I've just seen that on the screen. The rain started again. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is bad. This is very bad. Oh boy. This is significant. Very significant. Now those tires, those wet tires probably are well beyond their best. So it's not like this is a massive loss here. So it's not the perfect conditions for other drivers. But Tulipix came into the pits on dries, took a risk, looked fantastic, and is wide. Is gone off wide, got no traction in those softs. You know, when I turned around and I said this was either going to be a decision that would ultimately move the favour of confirming a championship to Tulipix, or could take her out of contention entirely, that might have just done it. That might have just taken her out of contention. That is incredible. A massive, massive, massive turn of events. The race isn't over. Tulipix does have pace when on the right tyre. But right now, that tyre isn't the dries. It's like Gears was running slowly. Gearza has also got softs on as well. Oh boy. Oh boy, pit lane for Tulipix. This is only going to damage Tulipix's race even more. Laura going wide there, going through the figure of 8. So not entirely perfect for the leader, but suddenly, from looking in control to running out of luck with the events going on around her, to suddenly being back in control again. Championship advantage, Laura Petal, the Japanese driver around this circuit, might potentially pull off, have all the luck go her way, and pull off an important and incredible stroke of luck and win this title. It's still all up to play for. Much like the wet weather stopped and the dry line formed, it is still possible that that could be the case once again. Of course, on board with the German Sharon Fly, who's has had a pretty nice race. Certainly not a barnstormer, but I mean, Sharon has always been pretty consistent. Has just kept to her own race, focused on her own, and just wanted to make things happen around her, and just letting the field go, letting the field dictate themselves around her. So relatively decent. Currently up in P7, and it's a yellow flag. Overtaking is prohibited at the moment. I'm curious to see who that was. Gears are facing the wrong way. Oh boy. If that doesn't tell you that the wet weather and the dry tyres are no longer the optimum strategy, I don't know what will. But Tulipix, though, Tulipix is lucky. And Inters are back on for Tulipix. Now it's recovery time. Like we said, we know the score. If Laura Petal is to finish P1, Tulipix must finish P5 or higher. Any other position will not do. Championship over for Tulipix if you cannot make it back up to P5. For Laura, right now it has to be a win. To put yourself in the best position to win this championship, to put yourself in the best position to win the Spring Cup in Gran Turismo 7 around this fabled Suzuka circuit, it must be a victory. But you have to have... So, more information there being fed into my ear. Of course, one thing we forgot to mention was the fastest lap bonus. This could potentially put even more pressure on of course, on Tulipix. Though, in fairness, the wet weather might put pay to this one. I'm going to say the likelihood is it will be a P5 requirement for Tulipix. But, let's say hypothetically, later in this race, the dry line forms again. We get a lot more dry running as the race goes on. And Laura Petal can set the fastest lap of the race. If that were to happen, that extra bonus point will require Tulipix to have to finish 4th. Could add even more pressure. So many championship question marks all at play here. On board now with the Dutch driver, Shauna Antonia. Not bad there. Tulipix, though, with the intermediates back on. Trying to once again find a recovery. And this is difficult. 30 seconds between P5, which is Yvonne Hufelar right now, and P10, which is, of course, Tulipix. A lot of these drivers have not pit yet, so we are going to see what those intermediates can do. But this is massive. As you can see, the Japanese driver So we're looking once again, and I mean, what else can you say? The track is seeming to stop raining again. And the track has started to form a dry line again. Question will be, do drivers want to take the risk and look for a longer term dry period? Or do they want to stick with the intermediates or go to the intermediates because they do not trust the track not to become wet again? Honest answer, hard to say. Strategy really is up in the air right now for these drivers. This truly is, once again, another exciting title battle here. We've seen it time and time and time again in screen-to-speed events, on iRacing and now on Gran Turismo 7. We've seen this story before, where numbers become the focus, and where we have to figure out what the championship implications are in the final round of the season. And right now, the championship implications, if you've just joined or you've ultimately been living under a rock, is thus. Right now, as it stands, Laura Petal JP will be the screen-to-speed Spring Cup Gran Turismo 7 champion. As it stands. This is because Laura is currently in P1 in the lead of this race. And that's the only driver that is ahead currently, who's in the championship at the moment, who is currently ahead in the championship, is Tulipix, and Tulipix is in P9. If Laura is to stay in this position and not set fastest lap, Tulipix will require a P5 finish to win the championship. If the track dries enough and Laura finishes the race in P1 and ends up taking the fastest lap from Gears of Grona, which is a 2:05, then at that point it changes again, because Laura will be in P1 and Tulipix would require a top 4 finish. Try and work all of that one out in your head. But it is an incredible set of circumstances here. Of course, on board with Sharon Fly at the moment as they head through the S's. Yvonne Huffalar is the target for Tulipix right now. Tulipix needs to focus on her own race. A bold strategy call at the beginning of the race looked to have been a massively strong decision. An even bolder decision looked even more promising, with a dry line forming, early switch to soft tyres. But then the rain would start falling again, and Tulipix would struggle to make it around the circuit, and would have to put on the intermediates. All the ground that she had gained had been lost, and she's now got to claw it all back, all over again. And Tulipix will most likely need to pit for fuel as well, so strategy is against the Mazda driver. So many question marks. It's going to be a close one. I cannot wait to see what these drivers are able to do. Pit stops now starting. Jenny coming into the pits. Lightspeed coming into the pits. P3, P4, that is. Yvonne Huffalar is going to continue once again, but those tyres probably need to be changed at this point. Intermediates, I believe, going onto this car, refueling, currently needing to be done. Nope, they're softs. Okay, the risk is now back here. Will the track stay dry? Well, Tulipix thinks so. Well, we do know what happened the last time Tulipix decided that dry tyres were the right decision. The rain started to fall. Lightspeed, though, and Jenny have both decided to do so. So it will be interesting to see how this race now lays out. The fact that fuel has been put into the car would suggest to me a short splash and dash there to try and pad out the stints. Dry tyres. Can the weather hold? Laura is going to have have the option of a pretty long gap for the pit stop here. But truth be told, it isn't. Laura has to hope that Tulipix does not finish in one of the required positions. There's no overtaking here that Laura can do to guarantee a title, a championship here. As Laura comes into the pits. Crazy Birch right now heading around 130R. Heading up towards Casio. Gonna wait and see exactly what Crazy Birch decides to do. But this is your race leader now into the pits. Laura Petal JP has led this race from start to finish. Qualified in pole. Has led every single lap. And right now, has spun, heading out of the pit lane, a massive spin on dry tires. Oh no. Of all the things that could happen, that is not what Laura Petal would have wanted. Kept it out of the barrier. So it's not the worst case scenario. But if I am Laura, I'd be sitting there trying to focus on getting my breath down right now. Too much worried. So currently at this moment, Yvonne has spun also. And has clattered the wall. This is unbelievable. The dry tyres. And this is another one. It's Shauna onto the pit. Oh no. 4 seconds. 1.5 second penalty for Lightspeed. Tulipix in P6. And suddenly, that pit entrance has just completely flipped this championship battle wide on its head. Unbelievable. We have just gone from having Tulipix play the chasing game to having 4 drivers spin going out of the pit lane. And now she is but only a few tenths between her and a championship battle. Lightspeed has to give way with a penalty anyway. Decides not worth fighting that battle right now. And Tulipix is now in the championship positions again. Oh boy. Oh boy. The story is unfolding and another twist in this book. If you tried to write a film about it, it probably would be a bestseller. Incredible stuff here right now. A change in championship fortunes once again. And it just seems to be playing further into the hands of Tulipix right now. It's backwards and forwards. The story of the race is Laura goes off once again. And a penalty for Laura. That gap is and damage. Oh no. The race, the championship is falling and is falling away from her eyes. Laura Petal right now is in big trouble. As it stands, Tulipix wins the title. But right now, it could get even worse for Laura here. Jenny's is in fantastic form. And if Laura is to drop to P2, and Tulipix really is really in the strongest position to win this championship, to win the Spring Cup Championship. And that's the best, and that's the fastest Sector 1 so far from Jenny right now. So Jenny's putting on some incredible laps there. The dry tyres You can see who are able to nail the dry tyres in this weather. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Not much more you can say, folks. Not much more you can say. In this race, we have seen the story change. We've seen the ramifications of this championship change from lap to lap to lap. Here's a Grona setting another fast lap as well. That says it all, don't it? But, and Yvonne having some problems there. But from the beginning of this race, completely wet track, Tulipix fell all the way back to P10. Bump there from Tulipix. But yes, Tulipix would fall all the way back to P10. The only one on intermediate tyres. The track would start to dry. Intermediate tyres suddenly became the fastest, and where everyone else was on wets, Tulipix started passing. Advantage, championship chance went to Tulipix. The track continued to dry. Tulipix made the risk, said, I'm going to go on softs. But only a few laps later, the rain and the heavens would open once again. Tulipix would end up spinning, as would Gears of Grona, who'd also joined on the dry tyres. Massive, massive losses there. They go all the way back to P11 and P12 respectively. Tulipix looks out of it again. Laura looked in control. And now the weather has changed once again. Dry track, but wet pit lane here at Suzuka. Laura would spin. Yvonne would spin. Sean Antonia would spin as well. All of those drivers would spin coming out of the pit lane. And now, it looks as if Tulipix has had the title fall right into her lap. We've still got 20 minutes to go. Anything can happen still, and it has done all race. For different periods, it's been a title battle. And as of this moment, it continues to be so. This will become even harder. This will become even harder with Jenny right now. Jenny, of course, in P1 right now, setting a personal best so far. And right now with Laura in P2, it's all starting to fall apart for the Japanese driver as Shauna Antonia spins behind Jenny once again. Yellow flag. Laura currently heading up through 130R. Heading into the Casio section as Shauna was right there. Ooh. Maybe not the best place to rejoin, but ended with no negative consequences for the either of them. But it does seem that the title challenge, the control of this race that Laura had at the beginning, is slowly slipping through her fingers. It is Jenny leading the race right now. Laura's in P2. But right now, just going against her. Crazy Birch in P3 right now. In an up and down race for Birch there. But Tulipix is probably the big one. The eventful one. From back to fourth to back to fourth. Now is up to fourth. And I mean, what else can you say? It has been a race of twists and turns, of moments that change and tell a different story. Currently at this moment, Tulipix currently setting a fastest lap of the race so far. Can Tulipix see it out? Because if so, this only solidifies Tulipix's advantage. No, I say that and she's gone off. She's gone off, heading out of Degner, heading through turn 19, ends up in the gravel trap. It's not entirely over again, and the story could have changed once again. What else can you say? What else can you say? This is racing. This is racing right here. With the chat in full effect right now, with all of you here, I have to ask the question, who do you predict will be the champion right now Do you think it is Laura, or do you think Tulipix will hold on and will take a championship victory here in the Screen to Speed Spring Cup on Gran Turismo 7? Or will Laura Petal have the luck go her way after a race that almost looked too in control and win this and somehow pull this one out the bag? Anything has happened so far, and I want to know and I want to hear what you all predict will end up being the final result. As we're watching the track go on at this moment and we're watching these cars go around, 15 minutes to go in this race. It is Jenny leading the way, Laura Petal in P2, and Crazy Birch in P3. That is your top three at the moment. But the championship will not be going to any of those drivers as it stands. It will be going to Tulipix should things stay the same. The fourth place driver has been all over this circuit, all up and down the order. And right now, a bad strategy call has turned into an absolute blinder. What else can you say about this race for Tulipix? Honestly, I don't think you could even write it. Heading through Degner right now. Did lose it around that corner a short while ago, so not completely invulnerable for the American. But is still within radius. And here's the thing with Laura and P2, Tulipix does have some breathing room here. It's not going to be a guarantee now. It's P5. It can be an acceptable loss here. So with P6 now as well, with this ordering, it's P6 that Tulipix would require with Laura in P2. So this position with Yvonne is not something I would worry too much about if I was Tulipix. You're in the ideal position here. You're one space ahead of where you need to be. Let's not risk it. You've got 15 minutes left of this race. Don't risk it for no reason. The championship has fallen into your hands once again. Do you see this race out? If I'm Tulipix, I sit there and I go, yes. Nothing silly, nothing crazy, nothing silly. If Yvonne shows the pace to overtake you cleanly, just accept it and move on. Because right now, it doesn't matter because the championship is coming your way. A race win is a momentary high. A championship is something that sticks with you and is associated to your name for its longevity. There is a good chance that at the end of this day, Tulipix could join a rostrum of incredible drivers who have won in Screen to Speed in terms of championship victories. From the main event to iRacing and the Cups of last year to Gran Turismo 7's second season here in the Spring Cup, we've seen many names win titles in this series. We could see another new name. And right now, it looks like we are going to see a new name. But right now, it's Tulipix who's going to be that person. Jenny's leading the way and looks like convincingly 9 seconds ahead against Laura. If I'm Tulipix right now, I need to be hoping I've got enough fuel in that tank. There's no need to push here. Savor fuel for the rest of the race. You're coming up to 10 minutes left of this race. Keep it together. Keep it together. It has been absolutely fantastic. And I want to say a huge thank you, of course, once again, to the wonderful folks at Screen to Speed who have once again put on this series, who have contributed to helping bring female and non-binary talent through the rostrum and through into sim racing. They have done so much, and so many names have been attributed to its success. Key names, of course, including CEO Steffi Bauer, but honestly, the workhorses behind it as well. Sophia Romwin, Yvonne Hufelar. They ultimately are the ones that allow Screen to Speed to be what it has been for the past over the year. It is their hard fought effort and hard work has made this series possible, and this is the second incredible title fight we have seen over that stretch, and it's just going to keep getting better. We've got more to come. We've got Formula One coming into the rostrum. We've got iRacing coming back for the Summer Cup. We've got, of course, Gran Turismo 7 making a return for us for the Summer Cup as well. So many rounds that you can sit there and you won't be able to figure out which one to watch, especially if they're being streamed. More information on whether they'll be streamed will be available on the Screen to Speed website and on social medias for Inner Esports a bit later. So keep an eye on that. But if you want to partake and take part in these events, you can do. Of course, if you meet the criteria, you can find out more with the Spring Cup coming up on www.screentospeed.com. That is www.screentospeed.com. We're still going. Lightspeed on board with Lightspeed and Lamborghini at the moment. P7 here. Looked almost really strong here. Early success, of course, for Lightspeed, but unfortunately not really finding the pace. The car really struggling, and obviously a couple of spins as well for the Lamborghini driver probably have dropped Lightspeed back. But a name that's honestly just has probably been the most consistent out of anyone in the order right now is Sharon. Sharon Fly, the German driver right now, has been consistently in this position, has just been benefiting from cars around her, just having issues, making mistakes, strategy differences. Sharon has just kept it on the track, kept things together, kept out of trouble. Right now, it looks like a pretty good finish should this stay the same. Less than 10 minutes to go. It is advantage Tulipix right now. As we go wide, and looks like an issue there for Crazy Birch. And this means that Tulipix is now up one additional position. We now go to the reality that the final ordering... Oh, and Crazy Birch has had another problem. That's another spin. Yvonne up to P4. Another spot that Tulipix can afford. But right now, the question mark becomes less about... I mean, it's 23 seconds up the road. There's going to be a lot of time to have to regain, but it's not impossible. We could be asking the question, does the positioning even matter if Tulipix ends up somehow bridging this gap? I can't see so within 8 minutes. 7.5 minutes if you want to be pedantic. But it does look like Tulipix is going to be coming home lap of 1, and you might as well stay out of the way, Tulipix. Stay careful. No need to get involved with lap traffic. Take your time. The championship is there for you, superstar. You just need to focus on it. We're on board with Yvonne. Axe getting out the way in P10. Not a bad round for Axe, though, considering they started last on the grid. Yvonne now up to P4. Potentially a podium in the works here. Could be possible. Not out the realm of impossibility. Dry circuit, though, really working the favours of Tulipix right now. The gap, 23 seconds. So I would tend to think that a conversation about Tulipix finishing ahead of Laura is probably out of the question. But Tulipix is setting a fast lap here. So looking strong. Does Tulipix have enough fuel? If my brain cells allow me to work it out, I tend to say yes. Probably looks like enough fuel to see out the last 7 minutes of this race. So fuel is less likely to be a factor, but I would just accept here that you're probably not going to finish P2. You're certainly not going to win this race. Tulipix, just bring her own. Don't take any risks. That will be the name of the game here. Crazy Birch, though, looked almost like a P3 finish was on the cards here, but massive amounts of issues, of course, massive amounts of issues heading into the hairpin. 2 spins ultimately cost the driver, the American driver, just any chance of that being the case. Laura was just seeing out this race. Before, in the early points of this race, honestly, Laura had it in her hand. She had done everything. She had done everything to win this title. The cards fell in her favor, but Tulipix would never quit. It didn't end there, and that is what has panned out. Laura has given it everything she can, but Tulipix has just shown on the day as it stands the quality of her own performance and of her own talent. And sitting here in P3, it really is incredible stuff. A penalty, though, for Tulipix. 1.5 seconds. Has had an issue. This, I guess, is the benefit here. And rear damage, reportedly, as well. Oh boy. This is what I was afraid of. This is what I was worried about. This is what I was worried about right here. Stay out of trouble. Podium doesn't matter here. Your positioning doesn't matter. The championship is what is important here. I know you have the pride of wanting to be the best performer in your race, but right now, that push ultimately has potentially jeopardized an easy run to the finish. It's not worth the risk here. Yvonne now applying pressure, heading up into Spoon. Podium on the card here for Yvonne. As the straight comes up, Yvonne will absolutely overtake. So a podium here for Yvonne after a fantastic run, to be honest with you. Here we go, the slowdown coming up for Tulipix. Yvonne is through. Tulipix down to P4. 20 seconds between Tulipix and Crazy Birch. But you can't keep making mistakes like you did just then. No need to do fastest laps. There's no need to do fastest laps. No need to do anything silly. Stay out of trouble. 45-second buffer to P6 for Tulipix. So now the ball is in your court. Nothing silly, nothing daft. Just bring it home. Strong stuff here from everyone. Yukina Suzuka getting out of the way there. Yvonne, at this moment, is in P3, which, to be honest with you, before the end of today, considering that she spun out the pit lane when she switched to the dry tyres, I'd say that's an incredible result. I think she'll be over the moon with that. Absolutely over the moon with that. Tulipix still has a chance, but to be honest with you, if I'm Tulipix, just run her slow. Run her comfortable, don't take any risks. Because the important titles ahead of you. Podiums can happen. You can have more podiums. But winning series and winning events like this, winning seasons like this, is not something you get to do every other day. And I think in the grand scheme of things, that is the thing you have to focus on. Laura has done absolutely everything she can. 58 minutes, we're nearly at the 60-minute barrier. Jenny, currently leading the way, fuel at critical. She is absolutely in the red. This will be the last lap. At this moment, Jenny is leading the way. An incredible recovery. Has been in the top group for pretty much the entirety of this race. But when the order started to change, when Laura started to have problems, Jenny maximized the moment. And right now, looks like she will lead this one home, barring any chaos in this final lap. It looks like Jenny will come home second, come home with a race victory. Laura, on the other hand, had it all in her hands, and you can't knock Laura for all of the effort she's put in. She had a great chance of winning this title, and at one point, multiple times over, it seemed like that was going to happen. But the story changed time and time again. Tulipix would not give up. And right now, it does look like, while unfortunately the title will slip through her hands, she has put up an incredible fight. Yvonne, looking at this moment at a podium finish, a really strong result for Yvonne Hufelar, should this be the case, and really just kind of a nice little reward for all of the work she does for Screen to Speed. But all eyes are on Tulipix right now, who looks to potentially be your next winner, your next Screen to Speed Spring Cup champion. But keeping an eye on Jenny. Anna Miniak is now finished. P5. Crazy Birch, P6. Jenny will come across the line as they head through Casio for the final time here. It will be Jenny who wins this race at Suzuka round 5 to finish off Screen to Speed Spring Cup here in Gran Turismo 7. Laura Petal will come home P2, but unfortunately that won't be enough. That will not be enough, because joining the names of Saoirse Fitzpatrick, Christina Ryan, Nina Hahn, Geerse Groner will be this woman right here. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, Tulipix is your 2024 Screen to Speed Spring Cup Gran Turismo 7 champion. Unbelievable. I think now is the time to have a breather, to have a break. Because I tell you what, I think that was 60 minutes of excitement and absolute no questions, no answers. If you have words by the end of it, I'm shocked. And we'll get the track pan, but what an incredible result, an incredible race. 60 minutes of great work. A race victory, of course, for Jenny, putting that one away. And a really strong podium here. And we'll look at the final results. It's Jenny who would end up winning this race. Laura Petal giving it all her all, but unfortunately would just miss out on a title victory. Yvonne would finish the final step of the podium with Tulipix P4. Anna Miniak would finish P5. Crazy Birch P6. Lightspeed in P7. And Sharon Fly in P8. The final spots will be Yukino Suzuka, Axe, Sean Antonia, and Geerse Groner, last season's champion, who will be passing the torch on to Tulipix. Well, we'll get drivers in for interviews, but what else can you say? What else can you say other than that? We'll briefly look at the Summer Cup, though, while we wait for the order to be dictated. Of course, these will be your events for the Summer Cup coming up. So if you want to compete, make sure you take these in. They'll be posted on social media as well. Of course, F1 will be the first time with F1 24 that will be hosting Screen to Speed, the Summer Cup live. Of course, on screen with the Screen to Speed, it is Jeddah, Miami, Barcelona, Zandvoort, Singapore, Losail, and Yas Marina, a 7-round championship from June 22nd onwards up until September the 7th. Of course, iRacing's back with the F4 car. It is 5 rounds: Road Atlanta, Circuit del Spa, Snetterton, Laguna Seca, and Misano. And Gran Turismo 7 will be back for another 5-round series for the Summer Cup. Laguna Seca, Road Atlanta, Brands Hatch, Goodwood, and Fuji from August 4th to September the 1st. And interviews here. We'll bring in, of course, the race winner, Jenny. Bring her in now. Jenny, can you hear me?
Hello.
So, race winner in the final round of this season. How does that feel?
Feels great. I was a little bummed I missed one race this season, so I won't be in contention for the top spots. But yeah, it was definitely a great way to end the season. And I won the first race of the Winter Cup, won the last race of the Spring Cup. So hopefully I could take some momentum into the summer one.
Well, no, of course. I mean, that must have been, I guess, what was your mindset, especially when you saw the early running in the race? You saw that Laura had pushed away and created a gap. Did you think that you had a chance to potentially reel Laura back in and pull off a race victory?
You know, I was a little, thinking about it, but I didn't give up. I knew that one big spin on, a soft tire in the wet part of the track would definitely cause an issue. So, I did keep hope that there would be a way for me to get there, and it looked like it worked out.
Of course. Well, I mean, other than that, you've done absolutely incredibly. Is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank my family. My uncle passed away suddenly yesterday, so this one's for him and his family. I didn't even really know if I'd make it today, but I sat down and focused on the race. I was happy to get it done, so just want to thank my family, and then of course my team, Flying Fox Racing, and all of you guys for putting the show on for us.
Well, no, of course. Congratulations, and obviously deepest sympathies from all of us here at Screen Speed with you and your family.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem. Well, Jenny, it's been a pleasure. Jenny, you, of course, won the final race of Screen to Speed Spring Cup. We're now going to bring in Laura, who finished P2 and P2 in the championship as well. It's so close. How does it feel, though, having such a fun battle there for the championship victory?
It was absolutely fantastic across the entirety of the championship. Definitely, coming into this as a new person for it, I did not expect to be among the fast ladies in the group immediately, but I was very surprised when I was, and it led to some really fun stuff throughout all the races here. Particularly for this one, I was blown away by the pace I was able to do, even with my thought process of just do not push the car past what it can do and do not push myself past what it can do. Obviously, I paid for it a couple of times out there, especially in the during the pit stop sort of windows there. So, yeah, just keeping everything, just kept myself in check for most of it. I knew I was fast, but it was going to be difficult, obviously, to keep that fast driving going for the entirety of it, but I'm very happy to have the results I've got, and I want to say thanks to all of the ladies for giving me such great races out there.
No, of course. I mean, credit where credit is due. You had an absolutely fantastic race. I mean, that championship kept flying between you and Tula Picks constantly. I think the way it was going, I think it switched hands probably about 5 or 6 times. So you definitely did almost everything you could. I guess with that all said and done, what's your thoughts? Do you think that obviously with the Summer Cup coming up, is that potentially your next goal, potentially winning a championship?
Yeah, if I give myself the time and sign myself up for it, then I will. I know where I'm at. Obviously, if most of the same girls come back, I know where I'm at. Compared to them, they'll give me some great battles out there again if I do decide to join, and if I do, I look forward to the challenge there. And just keep my head. If I do it again, I just got to keep my heads in the same sort of mindset, saying, again, it's all about like not pushing yourself past what you know you are capable of doing, What I know I'm capable of doing is obviously very quick, and I'm very happy with that, but I can't overextend too much there because as it turned out today, like 1 or 2 mistakes can be very, very costly, and yeah, makes things very interesting. But no, if I do decide to join, I will look forward to the challenge again, and yeah, always keep pushing.
Of course. Well, Laura, it's been an absolute pleasure. Is there anyone you want to thank?
If anybody from my communities has come in to see me do my broadcast of it, thank you for coming in and throwing the support that way. Thank you to every single one of the drivers out there for some great battles, and particularly I want to shout out like Gearza and Tulipix at the end of the day. We got very close during those ones, and we had some great battles. And yeah, the organisation that put this on, the Inner Esports crew and the Screen to Speed crew, thank you for putting this on. It has been a pleasure. And it has been so much fun to do. Thanks for giving the opportunity.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Laura, congratulations on the P2 finish in the championship. And,
Thank you so
in the
much.
Summer Cup.
Thank you.
And finally, we will bring in the figure of it all. Tulipix, you are the Screen to Speed Bring Cup Gran Turismo 7 champion. How does that feel?
It feels great, and it was really dicey there in the middle of the race. So I don't know how to describe it. Almost like, I don't know. I was really worried for a while, and now it's just I mean, it's the whole season. So, but yeah, I don't know what to say, I guess.
Well, no, I don't blame you. Considering that kind of changed so many times, because it bounced between you and Laura about 3, 4, 5 times. It was absolutely incredible to watch, absolutely captivating. I guess my first kind of question would be, when when did you feel that the tyre strategy had kind of come into play for you there?
Yeah, so obviously the first pit stop for softs was a huge mistake. I, sort of tunnel visioned on, the rain has stopped, and I forgot to check the radar, and as soon as I got out of the pits, I saw the rain coming in, so I lost a ton of time. But then I thought, okay, stay the course, the rain's going to stop again. I'm going to come in the pits again, go for softs as soon as possible, because I knew I needed to make up time. And after my first lap on softs, I saw other people coming out of the pits. They either lost a ton of time, they spun out of the pit exit, which we all know is very easy to do. And I think I got up to like 4th or 5th there, and I was, I think, with basically the fastest car on track at that point, and it felt then like things might work out.
No, of course. And I mean, it must have been difficult when you put those soft tyres on for the first time and you had that incredible amount of pace. I can't imagine how it must have felt, how you would have felt in that moment when you saw the rain start to come down again.
Yeah, it was not good, because I knew coming into this race I had the lead in the championship since Sophie wasn't racing, and I knew I just needed to play it safe, and I realized as soon as I came out of the pits that wasn't what I did, and I could have basically lost the championship with that. So yeah, it didn't feel good, and I sort of compounded that mistake by staying out another lap and having to go out in the softs on the rain. So yeah, I was not feeling great for a while, but I managed to keep my head down and put in some good laps, and it made me up the time I needed to get the points I needed to stay in first.
Well, no, of course. I mean, though, credit where credit is due. When the dry track came back to you, you started passing drivers, you started making the most of mistakes and issues. Obviously, the pit lane became a massive one. The pit lane exit became a massive one for a number of drivers ahead of you. I guess now that it's all over, I guess, Penny, for your thoughts, is there anything else that's going through your head right now?
Just mostly relief, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. I made those mistakes just like I've done before, but this time I managed to get through them and do enough to win. So I'm happy for that. I'm sure Laura is probably disappointed because I think she might have had it in her grasp too. But I'm sure she'll have other chances. And again, thank you to everyone I've practiced with. Thank you to the people who put this on. Thank you to everyone who supported me and is watching me.
Well, of course. I know that Laura is still here as well with you both. I want to say that the official number of points between you two, the title was decided by a single point.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
If that doesn't tell you how close that was, I don't know what else would. I mean, just a credit and testament to both of you in the end. It was that close, but no, well done to the both of you. And of course, well done to Tulipix for winning the championship overall. Tulipix, is there anyone you want to say thank you to before we finish up here tonight?
I think I covered most of it in the last one. I guess also thank you to the fellow competitors. They did make it fun. And again, Laura, I'm sure probably feels a bit tough right now, but I know how it feels, and it'll get better. I'm sure.
It's okay. I made my own mistakes, and I know where to fix it for next time. No hard feelings at all, because you've shown great pace out there yourself, and where it's important, you got those wins, and that would have helped you out as well. So. No, it was very fun. It was very fun racing against you. So yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. And a lot of the people have improved a lot. So I think it's not going to get easier the next time we race together.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I obviously want to say, Tulipix, your name will go up with the names of champions through many different series on multiple different services. Of course, your name joining that of Saoirse Fitzpatrick, of Christina Ryan, of Nina Hahn in iRacing, of course Gearza in Gran Turismo 7. You're now the latest name to join that list.
Thank you. It's good to hear that.
Well, congratulations to the both of you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope that you both have an incredible weekend, and we hope to see you for the Summer Cup coming up soon. Well, what else can you say? That was an incredible title decider, folks. You've heard from all of the drivers, the race winner, and the two championship contenders in the end. It has been an absolute pleasure. This has been Screen to Speed Spring Cup Round 5 here at Suzuka for Gran Turismo 7. Of course, championship was decided here today. It was a story of many twists and turns, but in the end, it's Tulipix who walks away with the Screen to Speed Spring Cup Championship. If you're interested, of course, the Summer Cup will be coming up soon. Of course, we'll have the Gran Turismo 7 and iRacing returning, as well as the new field of Formula 1 as well in the new F1 game. So it has been an absolute pleasure for everyone. Of course, a quick rundown. Once again, Formula 1, iRacing, and of course, Gran Turismo 7 will be back. If you want to know a little bit more, or if you want to enter, you can learn more by going to www.screentospeed.com. With that all said and done, championships have been decided, stories have been told, and now it is time to say goodbye. Of course, my name has been Jamie Jessica Martin, your commentator here tonight. Of course, race direction by Sophia Romwin. Broadcast direction by Steve Proudley of AKE Sports. This has been an absolutely incredible one, and we can't wait to see you for the Summer Cup. Good night, everyone.